Boards. Board games, board games. I might be talking about board games or comics, but I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and I having a discussion about the joy of completion, inspired by two comics I read yesterday. But this one, I got to the end, and then it does say that this is not the real end, but there's a second book. And I went to find out how much it was, and I had a look, and guess how much it was? It was so expensive. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna buy this thing. It is just too much. It was about like 45 quid, including postage for one copy from eBay, and it was like 75 quid from another copy on Amazon, and then I just couldn't. But anyway, so I decided that I wasn't going to buy it. But I did see that they might be printing a whole new edition next year. But anyway, we'll talk about board games and comics and completion. It's what I'm talking about. Board games and comics and completion. I'm not gonna shout. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. Hello, Timmy. It is lovely to see you. I hope that you are having a good night, good super early morning, and you're generally okay. Lots of love and thank you for popping in. This is, of course, 490 of, I believe, episode 491 of Busy Beats and Briefer Bladder. And as I mentioned in the song, inspired by the fact that this comic book is only part one, and it's part one of two, but I wanted to talk about the joy of completion, getting to the end of something. And then I thought I'd talk about maybe the joy of completing a game. Like sometimes, just finishing the game can be quite a joyful experience. Win or lose, there's satisfaction in getting to the end, having the scoring done. It's like the end of a story. But then sometimes maybe we should stop playing. If no one at the table is enjoying it, for sure, we should all say, hey, what's going on? Is no one enjoying it? Like, are people likely to be enjoying it later? Are, is it like a really long, if it's like a 15-minute game, then of course, who cares? But like, if it's a long game, then maybe it's worth checking in the middle. Hey, is there one who's having a really bad time? And maybe we can, I don't know, have a discussion just for 30 seconds about whether we want to continue or not, because there are times when a game is just that bad. Or indeed, a film is that bad, and it's not worth continuing with. What do you think? Have you ever abandoned a game? Have you ever started a game and said, oh, this is just rubbish, it's not worth continuing? I'm sure I have, although I can't think of which game it was, and I certainly haven't in the past few years, given like a couple of them were due to COVID and not playing games very much. But yeah, I guess there's also on the others, yeah, I definitely have, I just can't remember which one. But on the other side of abandoning games, there's games of, okay, let's start playing rummy, or let's start playing spades or hearts. And at the start of the game, you've got, okay, we're playing to this many hands, or we're playing to this many points. And then you keep playing. And then, but after that, maybe you've got someone at the table says, oh, let's keep playing even longer. And should that happen? Or should you kind of say, okay, no, this is the end, and we'll start a new game now? Now, I mean, in short, I think that you should do whatever is going to make the people happy. But let me move on to the regular topic and ask everyone watching, what have you been up to? What's been going on in your life? What's been the recent highlights? Recent highlights? Living life and seeing the sights. Recent highlights? Recent highlights? Playing games and other delights. Recent highlights. So my legs are in agony. Yeah, that's not a highlight as such, it's an event. But yes, because I took up so many boxes upstairs, and yeah, I just, these boxes, oh my gosh, it was like so many boxes. You can look at the video yesterday or look at my Instagram if you want to see like the sheer amount of boxes. It was like 130 boxes plus the stage pole, which is quite heavy, plus a regular pole. And oof, I was, yeah, the people that I paid to bring it up, in retrospect, they did less than half the work. Chris and I, and towards the end, a lovely neighbour helped. And that was a lot of work, up 4 flights of stairs and no lift. So that was, and then yesterday my legs were like, oh wow, this is sheer agony. And today even like just standing and sitting down on a chair, it's, oof, this is sore. But that is me. I did stay in bed. I did read Princess Knight. Princess Knight, for those who don't know it, is by Osamu Tezuka. It is the godfather of comics. Princess Knight is all about, it starts off with a theological thing where someone gets the hearts of a boy and the heart of a girl, and then they are born as a girl, but they kind of dress as a boy in order to take the throne, because only you can only have a prince becoming a king in this particular country. You can never have a queen on a throne. So yeah, that's Princess Knight. She gets found out and thrown into jail, and then there's a witch, and the witch turns her into Swan, and then there's someone who's confused because she's got an alter ego, and there's someone else who's like, oh, doesn't realize that these two people are the same person, even though the only difference is that one of them's wearing a wig. And then, yeah, it's not even like she puts on any makeup or anything, it's literally just a wig. And then the prince from a neighboring country is confused and says, oh, this is the most beautiful woman ever. Oh my gosh, you're this amazing person. Hey, wait a minute, you're that prince. What have you done with that princess? And yeah, anyway, it's a little bit silly, and it touches upon things of gender identity, but at the same time, I'm not entirely comfortable with it because it does push into gender stereotypes. For example, in the moment where the girl heart gets, where the boy heart gets taken away, then she quickly becomes weaker and unable to defend herself in fencing, and I don't know, it just feels a little bit ticky, but I think when I got to the end, she'd gotten, there was a pirate ship, and she'd befriended the pirates, and one of the pirates really fancied her, and the pirate captain said, okay, I am going to sort out your enemies, and then I will make you my bride, and I never lie, I always make good on my promises. And then they were about to have their big fight, and then that's the end of part one. Now, let's talk about, I was a bit unhappy with that, and then you heard about the whole looking online, can I buy this easily? Should I buy it? No, that's way too much money to spend on something. Like if it was in a shop for the amount it says of $14, I mean, that would be, yes, absolutely. But at 35, 45 quid, not even $45, 45 quid, so that's about $60. Yeah, that was just like way too much. Let me close this door. And as you can see from that brief turnaround, all my cupboards are entirely empty right now, and I'm looking forward to filling them in at a later date. But yes, that was Princess Knight. It feels really good. I would absolutely recommend it if it was, available, like the new printing that's coming out in 2022, like for July, like definitely have a look at that. I would encourage everyone to check it out with the new printing. The other book that I started reading, you can see how far I am there, is Marbles. It's a story about manic depression, and it's a true autobiography of parts of someone's life as they get diagnosed with manic depression, and then they're kind of coming to terms with this, getting drugs to treat it. And I've not gotten to the end of the book yet, but it's fantastic. This is my favorite sort of comic, a autobiography of the kind of key parts of someone's life. Like, I'm not saying that the author is defined by their manic depression, obviously. That's not, sorry, bipolar type 1. But I'm not saying that that's all they are, obviously not. But it kind of, you do get a sense of who they are the rest of the time. You do get a sense of their sexuality, their, freedom, their creativity, their values, their frustrations, their, you know, but yeah, it is through the lens of this, and it becomes partially about them, partially about this one major thing in their life. Now, other comics that are quite similar, this reminds me of Disappearance Diary, where someone has a diary about the time that they just had to go away from home. They just couldn't handle it anymore because of stress, and so they I guess they were just overwhelmed, and then and yeah, it's like a real illness that makes us choose voluntary homelessness and saying, no, I'm going to abandon my family and just run away from it. I mean, gosh, and then like the books that I've read, including Stay Alive, My Son, a book about someone running out of Vietnam, like these major instances, not just learning about the Khmer Rouge, but learning about them through the eyes of someone who was there. And so those are for sure my favorite things and favorite books and comics. Learning through about other people, learning about their lives, learning about how things can affect people. And even though I am about this way through, it is the second time that I'm reading it. And if you see it for the price of 13 quid, I would say, yeah, this is definitely one of the, yeah, definitely like an 8 out of 10. Like maybe 9 out of 10, like their line work reflects their mood perfectly. There's like a lovely aspect of when they're confident, and then it's just buzzing with style and clarity, and then when they're feeling down, it's a wee bit more sparse and quiet, and you get a sense of how much it hurts to just drag themselves from bed and just stay there. But generally there's a whole clarity and an ease of reading and a frankness and an honesty that permeates throughout this entire comic. That is Marbles by Ellen Forney. Okay, so that's basically been what I was up to yesterday. I did have a very brief walk just to get some things to eat for dinner. And if you've been up to anything you want to share, then go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to move to questionably quick questions if you have got them. It's not an interrogation, but we'll have the questionably quick questions section. Oh, Timmy is going to a game dev meetup in a few hours. That sounds fantastic. Well, I hope you have good fun. I hope you get to know people that's useful for you. I hope that it's how should I put this? I hope that it's worthwhile and enjoyable, like with these kinds of things, with the networking. It's always a mix of being useful to you and being enjoyable to you. But I hope that today it gets to be both. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about getting to know people. Getting to know people, it's just fantastic. Because from a selfish point of view, it's about, maybe you get to know someone who's got some skills and then you have to hire them, or maybe you collaborate, maybe you become friends, maybe you just play games together, maybe you brainstorm each other. And also sharing ideas with other people, that's energizing. And like sharing ideas with people, then it's like, oh, you could do this, and then you go home and you think, oh, I could do that. And then maybe someone else suggests something, and then, but someone says, oh, that sounds like a good idea, or maybe it's just listening to other people's ideas, it gets you buzzed. That's brilliant. I do think that these kinds of meetups for designers and developers are fantastic. Like yesterday, I missed going to my own playtest meetup. That's every Friday. I would have loved to be there, but my legs were just too gosh darn sore. And I also did have a bit of an earache. I still do a tiny bit, But yeah, basically a bit of a cold. Anyway, the other brilliant thing that I want to talk about is completion. Today's topic. Let's talk about completion. Completion is brilliant because you get to the end, you've built up this anticipation, all these things are going to pay off, and then it's like a resolution. It's like a catharsis. I think that people on the autistic spectrum are often quite a lot more likely to have a strong need for this completion, if you know what I mean. It's not like, oh, if you don't do it, you're going to die, but I might watch a film and I might be utterly bored, but like, okay, there's something about this. I'm not really into it, but there's something quite interesting about, okay, I can get into it. And even if I don't like it, I'll put it on in the background because seeing how it turns out, seeing what happens to it, and it's all about that curiosity gap in a way, isn't it? It's like when you've got clickbait, you've got sometimes clickbait lies, and that's terrible. Like when it says, oh, these are top 10 scandalous outfits, and then it shows someone, basically flashing themselves, and then that picture wasn't even part of the article. Or it shows top 10 facts, life hacks. These will help you so much. And then it's got like 3 pictures, and then one of them, which are like, oh, wait a minute, there's something going on with the shoes. What's going on with those shoes? And then they show you a picture, and then you don't even see the shoes. Like that's the opposite of satisfying. That's not even filling you with that. But like when it's giving you that curiosity gap, when it's saying, hey, is Tapestry the worst game ever? I mean, that's kind of I'm using a curiosity gap to say, is it? Well, find out by watching this video. And B, I'm making such a ridiculous overstatement. For the record, no, it's absolutely not the worst game ever. If I had to rate it right now, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. It's generally okay. But it is. But then by making these kind of broad overstatements, you might be thinking, whoa, is Bez even considering that this game, which a lot of people love, is the worst game ever? I want to find out why. And then if I did that, if I made that grandiose claim, and then I eventually said no, and no, of course it's not. It's a 6 out of 10. You would be a bit disappointed. You think, whoa, I was expecting. And so I think this really gets to the heart of completion. Like completion and games generally are about matching your expectations, right? If you've got a story of, okay, first round we score some points, second round we score some points, third round we score some points, and then we end the game. Let's say that's the way the game flows. So like or in El Grande, which is a fantastic game. So it goes round once, it goes round twice, it goes round 3 times, and then scoring, and then repeat 3 times. And what the promise there is that the third scoring is going to matter, that the third scoring will potentially affect who's in the lead. Now, as it happens, last time I played, I was so far behind after the second scoring phase that there was no way for me to win, and I was just trying to take someone down. But then the person that was trying to take down did manage to win. But I had to, I think, for an ending to be satisfying, there still has to be a curiosity gap, a question, something that you're unsure of, but then there has to be, for you, on the other hand, you have to match some expectations, but then on the other hand, you have to, what the question that's being posed, like that thing in the curiosity gap has to be viable. Do you know what I mean? So if the question was, am I going to win? And if that was all I was asking myself going into that third round, I would have been like, no, that's rubbish. I'm bored. Obviously I'm going to lose. What's even the point? But then in my mind, and the people around the table don't mind, I say to Dimitri, yeah, I'm going to take you down. Dimitri's okay with that. I'm trying to take down Dimitri. I mean, if Dimitri had come second, maybe Dimitri would have been a bit more annoyed that it would had been purely because I'd decided to target Dimitri after Dimitri came into my home territory. But anyway, now my question is, can I make Dimitri not come first? If I put all my resources into beating Dimitri in all the territories, can I do that? And the answer was no, but I wasn't sure, and that's the point. I think for completion to be satisfying, you have to have a good idea of where it's going, but still a little bit of uncertainty. And that balance of uncertainty and knowledge and satisfaction at, yes, this is what I expected and now it's happening, and I am satisfied by that. That amount, everyone needs a little bit of that. The amount of, oh, I didn't quite expect that. I didn't know about that small detail. Everyone needs a little bit of that. But exactly what is that balance? That, again, is something that you need to communicate. If I say this is a highly chaotic game, if I say this game takes anywhere from 2 to 15 minutes, then you kind of go in knowing that this is going to be a game that could go in any number of different directions. And if it takes 30 seconds, then okay, play again. Conversely, if I say this is a game that takes 2 hours, or even worse, if I say this is a game that takes 117 minutes on the box, I would read that and think, okay, this must be like 80% of the games. Okay, maybe our first game will take a bit longer, but our second game I would expect to take that much. And if it doesn't, I will be quite disappointed. Yeah, so completion isn't just about something getting to an end, it's about having a satisfying end, having a balance between sort of having an idea of where you're going, but not knowing everything. And I think that is the key reason why completion is a brilliant thing. Now, if anyone has any really quick questions, then you should have asked them already. But yep, I'm not a stickler for rules. So let's turn it over and say, over to you, what you're up to. You can share, but only if you want to. So is there something that you are doing, something that you looking forward to, something that you are excited to do, something that you need to do? I realized that I never really shared any of my achievements or highlights. So my highlights are firstly that I'm living here, I've got like empty shelves all waiting to be filled in. I've got no one else's making dishes dirty in the kitchen, and I can put up decorations in the bathroom exactly like I want. Achievements. I had a walk outside. I managed to focus to read 1.5 comic books. And yeah, I told people that I wasn't going to the event yesterday. And also I made a difficult email telling the person who helped me out, hey, what's going on with this object, which is a wee bit, I'm not going to say concerning, but it's disappointing that they've got something of mine, they helped me move just like 36 hours ago and they've not brought it back yet. So that is not great. But as for the future, I am going to go home to my old address. I'm going to do a bit of tidying up there. I'm planning to get some ingredients to cook with. I might cycle. I'll see how my legs feel on a bike because they are incredibly painful on walking, but it's possible that with the slow motion, with the less resistance when I'm cycling, it might also be quite a nice way to do that. I'll have a quick shower and people are going to come over to play Root, the amazing game of Root. I don't know which faction I will be, the cats or the moles or the birds or the vagabonds or whatever. I'll probably have a quick read through of the rules. But yeah, Root. I think it's a fantastic game, highly asymmetric. I will tell you more about it tomorrow when I am streaming from my own place with my laptop. But what are you up to? Oh yes, also I do have to. Yeah, I'm probably not going to get to the post in time, so I'm going to give up on that. Or should I? Should I try to get to the post? Yeah, maybe if I leave right now, I might be able to get to the post. So yeah, I will do that. But anyway, that is me. If I end up going to the post office on Monday, so be it. Otherwise, again, that is me, and talked about a wee bit. Talked about completion. Talked about films. Talked about a couple of books. This is such an amazing book, but sadly, the way that comics are going out of print, they become so expensive. Sign of a good quality book, and I wish that I'd bought it like 10 years ago when it came into print, but I wasn't really aware of it. Marbles, yeah, reminds us things like Usagi Yojimbo. Buy Usagi Yojimbo, buy the new ones, buy all the new ones, and because they are amazing. Marbles, this was a really nice thing. Talking about completion, talking about that curiosity gap, talking about you want to have an idea of what's going on, but then a little bit of uncertainty about the details, and that is the best type of completion. That there's a broad idea. This is where it's going. Those expectations do get met. Those things do happen, but there are also some other things that you're a little bit unsure about. So it has to meet the expectations whilst also delivering those surprises. And I think that it's with the combination of those two things that you really get that satisfying conclusion and completion. But yeah, I talked about Loving Groot. And if you want to check me out, I'm Stuff by Bez everywhere. Check out my streams. I'm streaming every day until at 10 a.m. Share, spread the word. Thank you everyone for watching. And for now, the only thing left to say is bye, 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 bye. This is the goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye bye to me. Bye bye anyone else watching. And bye bye anyone else watching in the future. Have a wonderful day and lots of love. Bye bye.